Are we all good to go, everybody? Thank you so much for helping me out and help people find the space. And I'm sure that you're very excited for the session. So I will give everybody a very quick introduction to our speaker today. Thank you so much. So this is Omer. Omer is a senior data scientist at Meta with 8 years of experience in software engineering and data science. He specializes in building scalable, data-driven solutions using advanced analytics. With a strong foundation in data analytics and cloud computing, Omer translates complex data into actionable insights that drive business outcomes and optimize processes. So without further ado, I will leave the floor for Omer. And the talk title today we have is How to Approach Understanding Analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the kind and humble introduction. So good morning, everyone. I'm Omer Ahmed, and I'm excited to speak at the Data Science Festival. So today I will be walking you through a practical approach that often goes overlooked, but absolutely critical, which is understand analysis. So we'll be talking about what it is, why it is, and how we can approach it in a real scenario. So here's the roadmap for today. So I'll be introducing you about the understand analysis itself. We'll be talk about what are the key benefits of this analysis and the framework of how to apply this. And then we will talk about each and every steps in the framework. And then finally, like combining all the information and context from the presentation, I will show you or simulate you through the real life example. And then we will conclude with some key takeaways. So what is understand analysis? So it is the foundation of any meaningful data-driven decision-making. So it is a bit different than a conventional analysis because like there are two types of analysis. We are reactive, and most of the analysis which we do are reactive in nature. Someone like gets in information or like query to us, and then we do analysis and provide the information or insight to them. This is more like a proactive approach where we take a step back to understand the context, the situation, and like before jumping into the data, we will try to understand and remove any ambiguity about the problem itself. And it is actually about taking right questions, validating assumptions, and ensuring your finding align with the business goals. So this is more like of a longer-term analysis where you understand the problem first, and then understand and like form your assumptions, validate them, and then you go and find if those assumptions are true or not, and then finally project it in your like final conclusions. So why it is important? So first of all, it is ensure accuracy, minimize risk, and help to create a clear like path to strategic decisions and longer-term goals. So when we start with a context, and we only like save time, but also like provide impactful decisions. So here, like the importance comes with that it is much more clear than any proactive analysis, and because it requires so much time in the information gathering, contextualization, and then like figuring out how we are solving a problem, what is the problem itself, and then do the analysis to find out the what are the key points or insights to solve those problems. So these are the key benefits. So we start with reduce uncertainty. As I said, like when we clarify the context itself, we are reducing the chances of getting sideways and not focusing on the vision itself for product vision, feature vision, or the company vision itself. So it's like you begin then by understanding the problem, then the context, gathering all the necessary information from like all the past historical data or historical trends, and not just it's not just stick with the data itself. You have to collaborate with your cross-functional partners. For example, product managers, engineering managers, whatnot. So you get the information where it is available and what is necessary. It's not just from the data. Then this is basically this formulates, and this helps to remove any ambiguity because everyone on the same page, and then you will be focusing on what is right. Then it is super efficient. So it is why it's efficient because it's helped to avoid unnecessary iteration. So you're not going back and forth. So sometimes it's happened that you are doing analysis, you present it, and it's sometimes you are not on the same page. They say that this is not the problem we were asking about, and then you have to reiterate the process and take so much time. So it improves efficiency on the process itself. Then this analysis is particularly like focused on the strategic planning. So it helps you to develop strategic goals, roadmaps, and like longer term vision goals. So that's why like it helps to develop like roadmap for the team and the product itself. So it's just not about an insight that we give an output as like something happened and that's how it happens. It's going up, it's going down. It's about like what we will be focusing on in the shorter term and more on the longer term. And then finally, it enforces data-driven decision in the process. So like by providing concrete evidence, say you are 100% sure that something which is like we are trying to understand why it has happened, what is the reasons, and how we can move it along and align with the business goals. So this is the framework look like. So it's a like kind of funnel. We start with the first, which is gaining context, and it is basically understanding the problem itself. And here we will try to like align, like get information from your business goal, KPIs, mission, company mission, and the team mission. So you gather all the context necessary. You talk with the stakeholder and talk about how you are trying to understand and apply anything which can bring us closer to business goals or company goals. So this is a kind of, you can say, a requirement gathering which a software engineer usually do. So it's the same as what they do, but they are more technical and it's more like on a higher level to understand the problem itself. Then we try to define objective, what we will going to do. There are so many things are what we are focusing on. Are we focusing on something in particular? Are we focusing on bringing growth in? Are we focusing on fixing any particular solution or fixing any particular problem? So we encapsulate our context into objectives. Then the technical part comes in. So here you can see what I was talking about. So it's not reactive. So there's a 1 and 2 is a proactive part where we have to come up with a gathering and we talk and we decide what we are doing. And then from the part 3, we start doing analytical approaches, applying explorative analysis, descriptive analysis, all kind of methods. So here we will work on the data. Then on the 4th part, we will be working on formalizing our assumption from the data. Whatever we find out from the data, we will start to formulate in a hypothesis that, okay, this is happening, might be the reason of something moving down, moving up, something change. And then these assumptions basically get validated in the step 5 when we do hypothesis testing to understand if our assumption is right or wrong. And there's not right answer. When you test, you will get an answer that whatever you are thinking is correct or not. And this is an iterative process. So you have to test multiple things, multiple times. And when you get conclusive evidence of everything, you connect it back to the objective and present it finally to the stakeholders or where you want to present it. So let's get into detail. So step 1 and step 2 are kind of interrelated, interchangeable. So you go with in a way that you start with a problem, that the roadmap you have from a business, from the company you get it from, and then understand where we are trying to hit. So let's suppose in this example, we are saying that we want to understand the impact of user engagement on feature reduction. So in this way, we start to gather some relevant documentation like product specification, past reports, or roadmaps to understand a bigger picture and how the analysis fits into it. Then, when we have all the context and understanding, we form it we encapsulate it into an objective. And the objective should be very clear, very precise, and narrow that what we are trying to achieve. And then, like when we are forming the objective, we also have to come up with the metrics, which usually called success metrics, like whatever objective we are forming, how we will evaluate it. So what are the metrics that can measure the objective movement, like how it is moving, and if it's a success or not. Likewise, step 3 and step 4 are interchangeable, and they work together because you are kind of collecting the data and start your analysis. And here you can apply different kind of analysis, as I said, mostly explorative analysis because you're trying to explore what you want to do, what you want to find, and forming an assumption and turning into a hypothesis. So here what we say that we are finding some trends, and these trends might be because of X reason. And this is the statement or assumption we are trying to make, that this is going upside or this is going downside, these are the segmentation, and these are the things which can impact on our objective. So like for example, here we are checking whether the different user group interact differently with the product feature. So this is just a small example. I will go through the live example in the end. But here, this is kind of a thing which we are saying, that we are doing analysis, and we are forming a hypothesis over it, that some of the segmentation interact differently. Then this is a critical step. So this is, you can say, a core analytical process of this whole framework, where you do a testing on your assumption, on your findings. So you have understanding on what is the problem. You have an objective to achieve those through different means, and then you have find the data of how the things are behaving, and you have come up with multiple hypotheses. Now it's time to test it and to find out whether it is true or not. And this is the step is where some people might have problem because the expectation might fall. So whatever you're thinking might get rejected by the testing, and that's why it's an iterative process. Then you come back to the analysis and understand why this is happening, what is our assumption is failing, and what are the core reasons, and then you're putting into the finding. These are also results. If your assumption or expectation are not matching, this is also a very critical results. And we use it as a conclusive kind of a data or insight to support our objective in the end. So maybe I didn't say. So yeah, here the example is testing different segmentation for identifying key trends, which is coming from the bag that we have identified segments. And here we are testing if they are performing any key trends, or does the segmentation even make sense to this or not. Finally, the final step is communication. So it's about it's important as in analysis itself. So the analysis is not it's not done until your audience have understanding and trust your conclusion. So this means you have to come up with a way to bring clear visuals and simplify whatever you have found and make it in a layman term to express it to different people. Because when you're presenting your results, normally in the company or in any organization, even on a presentation to different people, your audience is very different. They are very diverse. Some people have technical knowledge. Some people don't have technical knowledge. So you have to make your insight in a way that they can understand it, they can comprehend it, and it should be actionable, how and what we can do that to make things right or make things stable. So think of it as you are doing a storytelling, that what the process was look like, what you have done, what bring you to this point to saying the statement. And the statement should itself be very clear. It should be very precise, have no noise or irrelevant information. So here, let's say, the same example we were having, that engaged user have 2 times higher feature adoption rate. So here you can see that we start with an objective here, which is the impact of user engagement on feature adoption. So this was a simple question, right? And in the communication, we have to come up with a very, very small and precise answer that engaged user have 2 times, say, 2 times higher feature adoption rates than disengaged users. So basically, if you want to increase your feature adoption, you have to target engaged user, and that will bring you more feature adoption than any other places. Okay, so with all the information which we get from the framework, let me go through a practical or live example which we have in Meta and which we have done. So the question was, or the take was, how to increase user growth of a metaverse product. So you already know what is metaverse. Metaverse is like a virtual reality which we are building. It's more about VR and AR. And these products are facing a user growth issue, usually because people are not very, they don't know what the new reality is. It's hard to catch up. It's hard to get in. So this is a usual problem, and we came across this problem a lot in the metaverse product. So what we do? So this is a practical example which I have faced. So I will formulate it through you, formulate and simulate you of what I have done to perform an understand analysis. So first of all, I started with, again, collecting data. So I start with going to the dashboards, to more precisely growth dashboard to understand how the trend is behaving. Is it going down? Is it going up? What are the real problem? And then again, not doing it in isolation, I talk to different people. I talk to UXR. What are the problem? Why it is happening that the user are not getting into our system? And then I came to find out that there is some problem in sign up that people usually complain. Then I go to the PM and ask how you have set up the sign up flow. Can you show me? And then with the engineering manager and product designer, we come through all the user funnel, how we have mapped the user journey from getting into the product to and signing up. And through that, I have all the context knowledge I need to perform and to take on this action on how to increase it. So we define an objective to identify what are the root causes of the issue itself, why we are not seeing any growth, and implement solution to result in an X% increase in user growth. We usually come up with the targets, and it's not relevant here that how you can bring up the target. So after defining the objective, I came up with the North Star metric of how we are evaluating all the work we will do in the process in the end. And then I start doing some technical stuff and doing explorative analysis of finding out now what are the issues through data. So I find out that there are almost 19 pain points in the funnel, in the user funnel, where users are dropping off. So, and basically, why they are dropping off, again, I have to collaborate with the UXR to understand what is the reason they are dropping off from step 1, step 2, step 4. I'm seeing more drop in step 5. So we are seeing that there are multiple reasons we came and hypothesize here that it might be because there are so much delay, a technical delay from step 1 and step 2. So we are assuming the hypothesis. So 3, 4, that's why I said that it's interchangeable. So that's why I said it, because here we are trying to make assumptions, and we will soon validate those assumptions. So this is one. Second was the information available on the panel for sign up is not easily comprehensible, so people are not understanding what to do. Third was since you have to use different kind of gestures through your hands, and again, it's not very adaptable. Yeah, you don't know about these things. You know about how to operate a mobile phone, but you don't know how to operate a new device, which is our Oculus here. So this is one of the problem. But then we came up and find out by collecting all the list of problems, we see that, okay, these are the problems, these are the 19 problems, and the metric we have come up with, what are the time has been taken from step 1 to step 9, or step, whatever the step is for the end, how much the user are taking the time. And if we reduce that time, it is correlate to user growth. So that was our main assumption. Finally, we have start doing hypothesis testing on all the assumptions and all the things that we are thinking. That's why I have said that first of all, if there's a problem in the if there's a problem in the text, we have solved that and then tested if it's make any impact. Then we find that there's a delay in technical delay between the steps. We have solved that and tested and find if there's an impact. And there are multiple other the gesture itself. So we reduce the use of gesture as much as we can to reduce the time. So everything is relating back to the objective and the metric we have come. And by collectively gathering up or encapsulating all the list of things we have done, we find the final outcome of what is the final impact on the user growth with all the solutions we have done. Then we have find out that we have, if we do all these things, which we have said, and it is validated and have a conclusive evidence, and it's that significant impact that it will increase our user growth by, let's say, 15%. And that's where we have to go and present it into a different leadership and different teams, that if we do this all in a larger scale and publish it and make it into a build, we will be solving this issue, and it will get us this much improvement in user growth. And here it's very, again, necessary that you present it in a very well and a very precise way to get leadership buy-in, because usually in the bigger companies, you cannot publish your things unless it is if this is that big thing that impacting our KPIs that much, you cannot roll it without signing off from your leadership. So this is the whole process through which we have went and able to increase our growth. But that's because we were very precise and we were very each step contains so much information and so much feedback and iteration that everyone was on the same page. So the last part was very easy because they were involved in every step, and it was easy to present and get support and get vote in from all the members in the presentation or in the meeting. So to wrap it up, I can say that what are the key takeaways? Start with the context. Don't rush into data. This is not a reactive approach. You don't even have to look into the data at the first stage. Just start to gather all the information you have already before jumping in and to find out what the hell is happening in the data itself. Then frame clear objective, metrics, and hypotheses. This will help you to form assumptions and validate those assumptions and bring in the conclusive evidence against your claim. And finally, communicate finding clearly and confidently. Be very precise, be very prominent, and have a great visuals because visuals have a more tendency to get remembered than any text. And this approach leads to better insight and more aligned with decision making, and they bring great impact. And the reason, the crux of this analysis is since it has all the context and back up with iterative and extensive testing, that whatever result you bring in to the table, no one at least question it. That they will be saying that this is the results, this is happening, and these are the validation which we have done. Now the only question remains is what we want to do. Do we want to do this or not? Or if we do it, how will we do it? To sum everything up here, I will say that to sum this everything up, the smart analysis leads to smart decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you come back to your stakeholders at the end when you present the insights after any other step? Does it depend on project and why?
So for the stakeholders, if you mean any collaborative members which are involved in the product or in the analysis, then no, you involve them from the first stage. So from the first stage, you involve them in the process. You ask them question. You need anything. You make them on the same role and the same page. But when you are going on to the leadership, which is like on C-level, suite level people, then you present it on the sixth stage of the framework.
Hi, yes. So again, keeping it on this slide where you, in step 5 about testing hypotheses with iterative analysis, of course, like I'm sure you'd agree, it's very easy when it's iterative and with the hypothesis and things to get, to go down into a rabbit hole. So how exactly would you make sure that you kind of know when to stop in that regard, if my question makes any sense?
So basically, like when you're doing iterative approach, you are not changing your hypothesis or expectation. So when you form your hypothesis, you are not changing it. You are only finding if it's true or not. And when you find it, if it's true or not, you are adjusting your insights regarding or based on those findings. So when, let's say you have an hypothesis say that engagement is increasing 2 times with certain part of users. This is the hypothesis you have formed. And then you test it, you validate it, and you find out that it's not the case. Then you go back on your finding and on the assumptions which you have made, and check out if you have to remove some of the hypotheses because it doesn't matter. So if there are like 10 hypotheses, and 5 of them are saying that the engaged users are doing something, but from one test you have validated it that this segment is doing nothing, then you remove those hypotheses. So that's what is mean by adapting and getting an iterative process. It's not going into rabbit hole. It's like let's adapt of whatever you have in mind and proceed with this.
Oh, so it's about adjusting like what else you have going on that's related to that.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
How do you address supervisory bias and also unintended consequences? For example, if you're focusing just increasing KPI on percentage engagement to, let's say, put an emotion icon in a Facebook sharing post, then without giving a clear option for people to skip this step, of course, we can see increased percentage engagement here, but it could potentially discourage people to post.
So basically, this is kind of a very great question. So when I was talking about, I was talking mostly on single metric or single objective, but we do have guardrails when we are doing this. So whenever we are doing something or changing something, we also, since you are telling it to the pupil, then they can come in and tell, you are doing this, you are having this assumption, that will go against this. So that's why this is approach, and again, effective, because whenever you're talking to different people, they can come and interrupt you and tell you like the thing which you are thinking or which you are going to present, it will not work in that way. So you again get prompted, and then you fit those things in your analysis again and finding, and then test this. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, really good presentation. Thank you very much for that. So I can see this is clearly iterative, and you can say the first cycle you kind of go through these 6 steps. But then what happens when you want to adopt this in a more sort of kind of real life setting? Perhaps data is changing, data is non-stationary, and thus that will change step number 3. And just want to kind of get your pointers on how do you adapt this in a more sort of kind of more iterative. So essentially you're going through each step, steps 1 to 6, but then again you go to another step because clearly the environment is changing, data is changing. How would you sort of eye this in that kind of setting, please?
Makes sense. So if I understand correctly, so if the things are changing continuously and you're forming something based on obviously it will get into the past thing and the new things comes up. So what we do in this scenario. So first of all, when we are scoping things down, we are scoping in a very broader way. So we try to encapsulate or have foresight if the things get changed that much, it is still valid on this objective or this. If it's like went away, or like we have seen a very high spikes in everything, then it might be then the problem itself is different. Then we will either go, like if it's bad, we go into the war room. This all get cancelled. Then we need to find out like why we have seen so much drop suddenly. And if similarly, if it's something get increased, then this get inverted in between. Again, then the thing is, you are being informed by the feedbacks, and you will not waste any time on this process anymore then. So that's why it's also efficient. Yes.
Hi. First of all, thank you for this. It was really insightful. I'm coming from an agency background, and usually when we try to do a form of understanding analysis before we scope out a project, we often get this question that, can we please get a timeline as to when we finish the project along with this? And usually in the first 3 stages, especially when you're gathering data and you do the quality checks, time to time it extends just because of the quality and a lag in getting all the data sets. And also you mentioned we need to talk to so many departments to get the questions right. So how do you timeline this, especially when a external person like a client is asking for this?
So your question is answered on the gain context point. So when you are gaining the context, you are not gaining the context on the problem itself, but also looking if the similar kind of problem have been solved in how much days and how much time. So let's suppose you have a problem where you have missing data, or even you don't even have a pipeline, right? So you will find those information and put it into the context when you're defining the objective, and already tell that, see, the problem we are having right now is kind of similar of the problem which we already had in the past, and it take maybe X days to solve that. And we can formulate or have the same kind of timeline for this. So that's why it's very necessary to bring out the pupil and bring out all the historical information you have to forming up your anything, which even the success metrics, even the objective. If sometimes it's a very real approach, sometimes I find out the things which are being asked is already being solved by different team, by different domain. So I just present that this is happening, this is the same thing, and we might get skipped all this thing, and then test the same thing which we sometimes someone have applied, test it on our data, and then get with it.
Thank you.
No worries.
We have about 5 minutes left. Do we have any questions from anybody? Please let me know by raising your hand. 5? Oh, okay. So I've seen 2 hands, but I haven't gone to that corner. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. What a brilliant presentation. Okay, my question is, what's your advice for reflecting on analysis to improve future thinking or decision making?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Okay. What is your advice for reflecting on analysis to improve future thinking or decision making?
Mm-hmm. So my advice on this, that if you are going to have a thinking or have to bring a mechanism how you think about doing analysis or doing the feature relevancy on this, is to understand the product first. Even for me, whenever I have to do analysis, I use the product myself first as a user. So to understand what is actually look like, what the user are seeing, and what could be the problem. So I just dump out all the technical things from my mind, and I became very naive user. And I try to test, okay, this is the thing, this might be the problem. And of course, since we are too used to our product which we are working on, we have all the knowledge, we might miss something. But when you test or when you use the product itself, it will help you immensely to understand what is the problem and where the problem is coming from. And then also sometimes you get the starting point. Here we can start thinking and formulate all the things around it. No worries.
Hi, thanks for the talk. So you kind of touched on it there. You put yourself in the customer's kind of shoes, and you kind of, I suppose that helps you ascertain, okay, where's the pinch point in the process? Do you ever actually go back to the customers and ask them for feedback on, okay, you've got up to this stage of a sign up? What was the pinch, or what stopped you from going to that next stage?
So yes, we have done that, and here we have asked help from UXR, user researcher, to like if they can, or if we have time permits, say, can you conduct some interviews from the users? First of all, they can get some of the information quickly from the feedback, voluntary feedback which have customer provided. But to specifically ask some questions which we have formed, they bring new users and ask the questions from themselves, like what is the problem you are facing, and that's why I get why. Like from the data itself, when you are doing a quantitative analysis, you cannot find why. You can always you can find why this is happening, but what are the reasons you cannot find from the data itself. You need some qualitative input, and that's where we ask UXR to come in. So that's usually the process. But if time permits, sometimes you don't have enough time, then like you have your own assumptions, say, by talking with everyone, and go with the flow.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Omer, and thank you so much for all of your questions. So
thank you so much
yes.
for having me.
Thank you.